did promise I'm going to start the Armada series, and given the time scale of getting things delivered and everything else, this is basically the best time to do it. I've always wanted to bring the Armada series to the channel, being that was the first collection I properly bought into and started collecting Transformers in. Now it's a completely different story, but the Armada characters still have a nice touch to them, especially now it's near 20 years. So today I'm going to start with everyone's favourite, if you watch that show, Hot Shot. Now I'm going to go over the course of the ones I've got. I've tried to order a few new ones, so hopefully they arrive during the process of making these videos. I probably will redo the Optimus Prime, Megatron and Unicron video. At the time I made those, the gear I was using wasn't the best, and I think now I should really go back, redo them, do it in the style that you see and hear now, and go over like the finer details, everything I can. I think it'd be most fitting if I'm going to be doing all the Armada figures, and I think having those 3 videos redone and bringing them back to put in the new style of the way things are going, it's going to be worth it. But yeah, Hot Shot, I wanted to start off with him. I think this was the 3rd Armada figure I bought, and he has a good toy. If you look at him in the sense of a Transformer for a child, it's perfect. The plastic on him was sturdy, the paint was great, transformation is simple, rolls perfect, and his add-ons were good as well. Now, you had his Minicon Jolt, this little helicopter, and you could use it as a gun, I suppose, but his engine, now that could sit under Jolt if you really wanted it to. I'll just put it on him, and that's the way it used to come in the packaging, so Jolt could have that. That's like the weaponry. If you remember the Transformers Armada game, that engine was just put on Hot Shot, and it'd be fair if I take the engine off Jolt. I actually prefer it that way. I actually like the look of Hot Shot being that way. Now, there is a gimmick to this, so if you press it down, it'll open up claws, so if you're driving towards stuff, it can grab them. It's a nice little gimmick. The whole issue with Jolt, if Hot Shot was in transformation mode, you could put him on like that, flip him down, and you can just spin it, and then he's got a bit of a boost. So it was a cool idea they had for Hot Shot. I liked it, and there's not many complaints I've got with this toy. The character's totally different. I think we all had complaints about him, but as a toy, this toy it's solid. There's very little I can complain, considering how old it was and the quality of these figures at the time. It's rock solid. Now, let's take Jolt, and because these are proper reviews, bit of transformation coming back. So Jolt, simple to transform, flip down the tail, come in the middle, lift that up, flip down the legs, put down the propeller, just flip the arms, and there you go. There's your first Minicon. If he wants to stand, no, he doesn't. So there you go, I quite like that. And now he'll stand, of course he will. So that was the gimmick of the Armada figures. They all had these Minicons that joined onto them, similar to the Mini-Bots, but they were smaller, and that was the gimmick of the whole Armada storyline. The Autobots and Decepticons were fighting over the Minicons. I have got, apart from the figures, I have got a few teams I will bring into the videos. So now, let's get Hot Shot transformed, and we'll put everything in for him. First, we're going to remove this part. Close this part up. Let's take away Jolt. Pull back the camera a bit. Oops, all the way back. Now, easy way to start the process is come to the top bit and flip these panels down. They expose the face. Then, what you want to do is come to the doors, flip them down, come to the hands, just push them up, swing them out, turn them around, come here, push these parts down. Now, I forgot you actually have to have his feet out, and then we'll get him standing. And if your child watches the, I think it's, oh, what's the preschool one? The GoBots, of course, you've seen a similar design, and you can flip up this helmet. So there you go, there's Hotshot. Articulation, really the arms can go in and out like that. That is it. Legs can go up and down, they can go all the way back. The head can't move, there's no waist swivel. So he's basically just always stand like this. There is a recolour of him in the Power Links edition. I've been trying my best to get hold of that one. I haven't been so lucky. So, unfortunately, I've still just got this version. But this was back in 2002 I got him. So, let's look at what the add-ons do now. Now I've got Jolt transformed and I've got the engine block, what you can do. And it showed you instructions, but I used, I think it was Scourge from RID. Now the one that had like, oh, it was the Generation 2, Megatron Prime had it, and it had like the foam rockets. You could just do that and it shot off. I used to use his gun for that, but it showed you could put that there. It just looks horrible. But what you can do is take it and put it on the chest. So he's got a bit of body armour, so that secures that nicely. You can flip back down that visor for targeting. And now this was the gimmicks. So you come at the back, you can clearly see there's a bazooka, okay? You get the Minicon, there's this peg, and there's a port on the Autobot or Decepticon, and you pushed it. Now, if I remember right, he shot the missile the minute you pulled down, so I'm trying to make sure I've not done this in 20 odd years. There we go. So then I can fix Joe. And you can see there's a trigger it's going to turn, so let's move the camera up. We'll just turn it nicely. If I push that down. And there you have it. That was the whole gimmick of the Armada series, like they find these hidden powers with the Minicons. That was Hotshots. Unique figure, the robot mode was cool. The character on the TV show was annoying as hell, but as a toy, it was fantastic. Very reminiscent of Bumblebee, mixed with a bit of Hot Rod. And I think at the time that's when, I can't remember if Hasbro lost the rights to certain figures' names. So that's how they had to come up with different names. So Hotshot got slapped onto this, but it was clearly looking at Bumblebee. And of course he stayed in the series for a while, different incarnations. I've already reviewed the Energon one. I might actually link that video if nobody's ever seen it. I done the Energon reviews last year, and then I started the third party Legend figures. So with the Armada figures, there's going to be quite a few and quite unique ones. I think a lot of people's not seen in a long time if you don't have them in the collection. But I liked Hotshot. I liked this figure for being the third Armada figure and properly the third figure I bought. Back in 2002. It still has a little special place in the collection, and I wish I could get the Power Links version. If I can get it, it'll probably be photos I'll put up on my Facebook page for toy photography or something, so be sure to like the Facebook page. There's a link in the description, and you can get to see some of the shots I've done during the process of this and where I had them, so you can get to see like work in progress and things like that through the entire review setup. Today we are looking at Transformers Armada Demolisher along with his Minicon Blackout. Now this was the fourth figure I got in the Armada series, and again he is one of my little favourite ones. There is a few issues and it's regarding the legs, but we'll come to that at the time. But one thing that it got me thinking over the Armada series, apart from a few bots, the Armada series actually stuck very close in the sense of what the Decepticons and Autobots were. Now, if you look at it now, they could really be anything, like cars, etc. Doesn't matter what insignia they've got. But back when, like the original Generation 1, of course you had a few spy changers, but you were looking at the Autobots mostly being likes of cars, trucks, etc. Things you'd see on the road. And then you had the Decepticons, which were military vehicles. And Armada at the start done that, and that's one thing I loved about it. It was just, I just remembered, I was like, yeah, that's right. Until they started introducing Sideways or Wheeljack, you're looking at some of the characters, likes of Demolisher, Cyclonus, of course Megatron, Starscream, that all stuck to that military format. Doesn't mean like so the colours were military, but like so the idea. I mean, if you take Demolisher, it could be like a mobile turret setup, SAM site, whatever you want to call it, and he was a cool looking figure. That was the thing. Moves perfect. Still to this day, the issue I've got is to do with the legs. Now, in transformation, he is meant to sit like this, okay? They're supposed to sit a bit better, but they never have since day one. Never have. But what you can do, if they sat, was you take his Minicon and you could place it in the middle. And there's a button right at the back, and you could send it flying. And that was a cool idea, except if the figure didn't want to sit proper, it was an issue you had. But I liked it. I did like the way the camouflage looked in certain aspects. Like another form of a tank next to Megatron. Having him next to Megatron in like the sense of an off form of like weaponry, like the tank, artillery weapons, etc., SAM sites. I loved that idea with Demolisher. And transformation for him was extremely simple. So before we do that, let's take a look at Blackout. So if I zoom in for him, Blackout's really simple to transform. Flip down the legs, push out the arms, flip this part down, and there you go. Now, the main gimmick for the Minicon was if you put him in this, slide it down, it pushes out this part, which was locked in, and then if you push down again, that released the rockets. I didn't want to get them flying. But the cool thing was it only worked on one side. The other side, however, it just housed the spares, so they just slide out. And that was the gimmick for Demolisher. Very simple and straight to the point. So, transformation for Demolisher. So, if we come to the legs, all you're doing is taking the threads, moving them down, come to here, and flipping them up. Fold this part down, and this part down, so you've got like that. Close them up. So you can see, starting to take place. Now you want to come to the back bit, flip around the seat. I think it's this way actually again. Yep. So you flip around the seat and twist it round. So I'm going to actually just lift it up there. So then you have this look. Come to this section, open up, flip down the arms, and flip out the hands. And it was a strange one. His hands were just basically, well, cannons. Look, I didn't understand how he could grab anything. And you flipped up his head, and there you go. There is Demolisher in all his glory. And it's a cool looking bot. It really still is. I like the looks of this bot. It really depends what side you like of it to look at. I mean, you can have it looking like that as the legs, but I prefer it that way. It just looks a lot tidier, in my opinion. Fair enough, he's got these wee stumpy feet, but it looks tidy, and that's what I like. So, it's the same idea. If you put the Minicon on, the weapon was meant to come down like this, and that's what happened. But that was really Demolisher's gimmick. He really didn't have a lot to offer in this size. So if you're going to do a size comparison, we'll bring back in Hotshot. And that gives you a good indication of the size of Demolisher next to Hotshot. Cool little figure. I dig him. His Powerlinks model was red. Swapped out that kind of greenish beige colour and swapped it with this red, where this red went in to the beige colour. It was odd. I didn't really like it. I like him looking very military, and that's the way I kept it. But he was unique. I actually really liked him. So let's get black out next to him. Let's push him back so you can get to see it was quite a good size minicon with Demolisher, and I like him. Of course, I think he was recolored in Energon. I don't have that version, so this is the one I've got. On eBay, this version can go okay price, but the Power Links and Energon one can go for a little bit more, because they're the ones people sought after more. If I ever get them, yes, they'll come to the channel, but this was the fourth guy I bought, and I really still like him. Still a unique take on the character, and I just like the transformation. I like the simplicity of it. A kid could easily use this. So this was where Armada really started to shine. Articulation, head doesn't move. As you see, you've got a waist swivel because of the transformation. Arms go right up and round. You have got that elbow joint. Legs, really just to there. That is it. There's nothing really else you can do with the legs. So for me, he will just always pose, and that's the way he'll be. Continuing with Armada, we're going to look at Blur. Now, Blur looks kind of based on the old Le Mans cars you used to see in the late 80s, the 80s, the 70s type of deal. And it's that futuristic take on it. A lot different from what we're always used to with Blur. The character in Armada was a lot different. More serious tone compared to the one we had and then continued in, I try to think, was it Transformers RID or Animated? I can't remember. But one that actually got back the original voice actor from season 3 and of course the movie. But the toy is quite cool. It's a different take, like I said, and there's some elements in it you can see what they've tried from the cartoon. It looks okay, but it could have been better, and I'll show you throughout the course of everything in the review. But the car does look nice and sleek. It can move. The only problem is this tyre is not gripping on the actual surface I'm on just now, which is a bit of a pest, but it's one of those things just when you're reviewing. But the tyre can stick, so don't worry if this is a figure you want to get. I legit cannot remember if there was a Power Links version. I know there was another colour, but I don't know if that was like an Energon repaint. So that is one thing I couldn't really find at all. But this guy I did like. This was, I think, my fifth or sixth Armada purchase, and at the time it was just like on a whim. Just getting them because I seen him in the cartoon. I liked the different take. He was more of a sniper class. He was a race car on Cybertron. If the backstory was right, he was a race car, then joined the ranks of the Autobots, and became like a sniper class for Optimus in the Autobot ranks. That's the backstory. Serious character, totally different from likes of the fun kind of Blur we always remember and the fast talking. Very, very serious character. Now, his minicon is Incinerator, and it's just another like drag race car, which is pretty cool. His Power Links mode is mostly for the car. That is the other thing compared to like a Hot Shot had a few different gimmicks with his Power Links. This one just really has this. So if we take him, go at the back, you can see where his two cannons are, and basically you're just slotting this in here. And you push, and it should, if I put it in the correct way, there we go. And one of the cannons just falls off as soon as I open it. It kind of like opens up like a hover version for him. So that's the gimmick with the minicon. going in for the cannons. And of course, to fire those cannons, you need to connect the minicon onto those bits to shoot the cannon. So with the minicon incinerator, he can move, which is brilliant. And transformation is quite simple. You can clearly see with the legs, just bring them down, like so. Come to the arms, and all you're doing is unhooking. One arm will bring down this part. So the front of the car is going to be an arm. If I can just get it round the right way. And there you go. There's Incinerator transformed, ready for Blur. Blur's transformation, again, is very simple. There is one part that's a bit tough, but it just depends on how many times I think the figure's been moved in transformation. In my case, it's not been a lot because these figures are on display 95% of the time, unless it's a review purpose or just going through them, cleaning them, getting them all changed in different orders the way I like to have them. So, transforming Blur. Let's take off his cannons. And what we'll do is close up the wings because we don't really need them. You can leave them open if you want. I don't really mind them either way. So as you can see, everything is hidden underneath a Blur. So, come to the legs, sharpen up, and just flip out the feet. And slide down. So that's the feet ready. And he can stand pretty good. So, next, what we're needing to do is come to these parts, flip those down on each side. And what I'll do is allow this back portion to now flip down. So, if I bring up the camera and unhook the arms, it makes life a lot easier when transforming them. So we're going to come here, flip this down for the crotch plate, bring the arms down, okay, and they're meant to twist round, so if I can get them sitting like so, there we go. And what you want to do is come here, and this is the bit that's a bit tricky, especially when you're transforming them as well. You're best using your nail, or if you can, pull this bit and gently slide them down. Or what you can do, which is an easier option, is push the actual panel back. Okay, as soon as you've done that, that'll free up the arm and bring it down. With the figure transformed, what you have to do, just to be on the safe side, because of course I've just went ahead and done that side, that one's a lot tighter for mine compared to this side. But one thing I did forget, when the figure's like this and you're trying to get these wheels round, if you pull this part just a little bit more down, that will slot there. I should have remembered that. And that gives you the space to flip these round. But that is Blur. He looks fine to me. I like the look of this Blur. It has got the colours with a new touch of orange. We go into the face. He's got nice little smokestacks coming round for the mouthpiece. Coming round here that are translucent. And with the arms and posability, here's the issue. That is it. The legs basically just do that. There is not a lot to this guy. This guy is just basically going to stand there and look tough. Now, his weapons, he can only really hold his. If you've got any minicon teams in that, there's nothing much you can do with this guy. So if we take his guns and just peg them in, and it's just the same peg you use for the back going into the car. So one fits the car, one fits him. And there you go. And that's the way he looks. I'll zoom back out for this. And if we bring back an incinerator, try to get a half decent pose of him. There we go. Now, With Incinerator there, you can retransform him and put him in the back, which gives him a bit more sturdiness, and I'll show you what I mean. So that's what we'll do. So having Incinerator on the back, it kind of like gives that extra balance. Just to show you what I mean, I'm going to zoom in and you can actually see he is touching the ground right at the bottom there. So that gives you that extra balance when he's trying to stand. It saves him falling over, which is a nice little touch. I don't mind it. Overall, Blur's a unique take on the character. It's a cool toy, easy to transform. Just these parts here can be a bit tricky, but I dig it. And it was cool for the Armada line, especially bringing back some of the characters like this, and a different type of generation look on them. So I'm happy with it. I have seen them on eBay for buttons, literally buttons. I think the dearest I seen him was £8, and that was a complete. He wasn't really a sought after character, I think, but if you're trying to complete the Armada line, it's one I would pick up. I've been happy with it since 2002, and as always, he will remain like a special part of that Armada collection. Everybody associates Cyclonus as a jet. I actually quite dig him as a helicopter, and that's why I love this version of him, especially from Armada. Now, there was a few repaints of the character. Of course, there was a Powerlinks version, which is a bright green version. Again, I've seen him on eBay, but it goes for silly money. The Energon version, before he became Snowcat, which was like a white camouflage. Unfortunately, I can't get it in Britain. I'd have to order that from the States. So it looks like I might not be able to get those two. But I've still got my original one I bought from 2002. The character was a bit clumsy, but he was like Demolisher. It's just like one of Megatron's like trusted soldiers type of deal. But it continues that thing with the Decepticons are all army vehicles, like different styles, not like going towards what the Bayverse done with realistic ones, but they still kept in that tradition. This one's no exception. The helicopter mode, I really do like. The problem you've got though is it just doesn't like to land properly because of the way the legs are. But you can basically see where everything's housed. There's the legs, the body, the head, and that's basically it. Like the wings can move up and down, you can do that, especially at the tail. They can move back and forward a little bit if you want to change a little things up. One thing I do like, and it continued throughout the three versions of the repaint, you've got this trigger on the back, and you can make it move the propeller. Now, again, with his Minicon, it was mostly for vehicle mode. The Minicon triggers the rockets in each arm, so you put them in, pull it back, and that triggers it. So let's bring in Crumple Zone. It's a little tank, so you kind of think, where's this going to go? But it actually forms right on the front, and I think it makes the helicopter look a lot better. So all you've got to do is push that bit up, take Crumple Zone, and we'll transform him proper later when we go into figure mode. And all you're doing is this, twisting the turret round. Forgot, you've got to twist this part first. There we go. So you want that. Come here, put them down, and all you're doing is combining. So you want part of that gun to go in there. Just slide that in, and as soon as it's locked up, close in the legs, and there you go. I think that's a much better looking version of Cyclonus. And if you pull the back trigger again, make the propellers go round, watch the gun. It does make the gun spin round as if it's attacking, so I like it. It's a nifty idea, and again, it's like one of those things with Demolisher. Very simple, very basic, but I like him. Now, size comparison, I'm going to bring in the next bot, which arrived today. I won this off eBay. I'm trying to get as many as Armada figures I missed out back in the day as I possibly can during these reviews, so let's bring in Smokescreen. I never had one, and that gives you a rough idea of the size. He's quite small. Transformation for Cyclonus is pretty simple. So if we come to the legs, we're just pulling them down and flipping up these turrets here. Do that, and twist. Lock them in. Just pull up their arms just now. You don't want to touch them just yet. And pull this hip forward. Then what you want to do is come to the tail and bring that down, and you'll see a mechanism which is going to slide those legs back, and it's going to click like so. Now that you've done that, come to the arms and just move those down. And all you want to do is flip up the head, and what we'll do is we'll take off Crumple Zone just now, flip that bit down, and there you go. That is Cyclonus in transformation mode. And he looks pretty cool. Like, the detail on this figure's face is really good. Transformation is very simple, especially if it's a child that had it back in the day. The instructions really made it clear on how everything worked. If you bring the Minicon down here, I'll just do this just now. Just find a peg. You can push this in, and it should still flip out, so you get an extra cannon there as well. So that's one of the things you can do. And he could stand good because of the way the tail held him down. So transforming Crumple Zone. Take him away. Try to find him there. Put down the tracks for the tank mode. Flip this section around. Come here and just flip these down. If I can get this one. Wish I had nails. Turn it around, and there you go. There is Crumple Zone. Hopefully he stands. He didn't want to do it in any of the pictures I took. And that's him. So that's everything together for Cyclonus. A very unique take on the character. I like the fact they made him a helicopter and called him Cyclonus and not anything else. It really did fit the character. Now let's bring in, for size comparison, we will bring in Demolisher. And that gives you a rough idea of the height. So it's really good to have characters keeping the same height, especially with the classes going about back in the day. For the way I have them personally, I do have Crumple Zone still connected to the front. I do prefer the look of that helicopter. That to me is a better looking helicopter than what it is. So it's all personal preference of what you want. Something different today. We're going to do the normal review for Smokescreen, but it is a pretty much fast review. The character, I don't really know a lot about. All I remember is in Armada, he gets heavily damaged and he gets rebuilt to Hoist, which is on its way. I've got one of those coming from Armada. So I was kind of hoping to try and do something with that, but this actually makes more sense what I can do with this video. Because the character is basically such a quick bot to transform, there's not really much of a gimmick. I do have a surprise at the end, which will be another review on top of this video, so it's a surprise bot, which I will be using. Now, Smokescreen car is pretty good. It's solid, it can move back and forward. You've got the tow line at the back, and if you switch it to this mode, you can actually winch things up, which I like. That is actually quite a good gimmick. He's got his Minicon lift tower, and to do the gimmick, basically all you're doing is sliding it in up the top, and we'll go this direction, and it should fire out a missile. Problem is, don't have the missile, but I've got the Minicon and the bot's in great condition, and that's what I was really hoping for. Transformation is extremely simple, so what we'll do is we'll transform lift tower first. So open these parts, fold down the legs, move the arms, and flip this back. And instantly it reminds me of an Insecticon more than anything else. Doesn't he? It looks like an Insecticon. But it's cool. It's basically the same one they use for Hoist as well. Just a different colour. So let's take him away. Bring him back in smokescreen, we'll go for the transformation. So come here and just flip these panels down here. Come to the middle with those and just break off. Now basically this is it. So just come to the middle, slide that part down, flip round, expose the feet, do that section, and he will stand the minute you get the balance correct. Coming around here, just slide down one of the arms, and the same again, and that's basically it. He doesn't really have much more else. And there you go. And that's why I decided I'm going to add 2 figures to this review, because there's nothing really much else I can talk about him. Like, head sculpt's fine, but everything else is quite restricted. I didn't pay a lot, don't get me wrong, I didn't pay a lot for him to try and get an Armada figure back in, like, one I missed out in the original timeline. But I was quite shocked at how much he just didn't do anything. I can't put any mini-cons on him. Like, the teams, I can't really do anything apart from this cannon. So, yeah, that was that. So it's okay. It's an okay bot, but again, I wanted it to finish the collection. And now I've got Hoist coming, hopefully in the next couple of weeks, just with deliveries. I can now add that to the collection as well. But let's move on to the bonus bot. So the second bot I'm bringing in is Treadbolt with Minicon Hound. And of course, as you can tell straight away, this is a repaint of Scavenger from Armada. This is the Energon version, and who is a chick. In the Transformers wiki, the stats say this is a chick. So there's a few a few things we're going to have to go over before we go into transformation. Basically, I don't want to pay £60 for Scavenger for Armada. I wasn't a fan of the colour scheme, especially in Autobots. That is Constructicon colour scheme, and it's Decepticons. I'm not wanting that in the Autobots. This I actually bought at the tail end for the Energon reviews, and I just didn't get round to doing it. By that point, that's when everything started picking up with restorations and the third party stuff, and other things went on. So with the size of the actual smokescreen review, I decided to put this bot in to actually give its review. It is just a repaint, so it is the exact same mould, and it's just not a part of that Armada line, so that's how it's not going to have its own video in this Armada reviews, just purely because it is the Energon toy line, even though it's just a repaint. If I win a few auctions, which I'm on just now, it can go the exact same way. And there's one bot I'm kind of hoping I win because I don't have them. But the way things are looking, there's only... I'm going for bots that were in the TV show. Okay? So, that being said, there's 2 I am struggling to get. One is Wheeljack, and the other is Thrust. We'll just leave it as that just now. So we'll have to wait and see what I can get off eBay. Now, transformation, we'll start with Hound, because basically it's quite a simple transformation. Just lift up the front part here, adjust the camera, come at the feet, and we'll flip these round so you can balance. Pushing this back down, just come here, flip this round, and there you go. Minicon Hound. Who doesn't want to stand? Stand. There you go. Good boy, Hound. Right, transforming Treadbolt is actually quite annoying because of the way everything is. Basically, this is going to be the bottom part for the legs, and we have to get this part over here with the arms being here and twisting the body around. So, let's just do it the fast way. With Treadbolt transformed, basically the gimmick now is you can actually make the legs walk, and it's because of the way they've hooked onto the wheel, but that's mostly it. It's not, it's sturdy in the sense it can stand like this, but it's just basically falling over. You can't put anything in the hands, and Hound will go on the side to fire out a missile here, which I don't like, so I'm just going to stick him up there. And that's really it. But to have these two bots now properly on the channel, in the collection, when Armada did really start everything off for me, it is something special, and this is how I'm trying to get as many as I can, because these reviews do mean a lot to me. It's a show that kind of reignited everything. If you've watched any of the podcasts with me in it, even though the two bots are basic as hell, I do have a lot of love for them just for what they're like. So there you go, guys. 2 reviews in 1 video, and it's, again, if you're into collecting Armada and you've not got these, if you can get Treadball cheaper than Scavenger, it's up to yourself on that one. Smokescreen is just one that I was missing out and I needed, and now I've got Hoist on its way, so I've got the 2 versions of them, so I'm quite cool with that. It's Red Alert's time. Well, Powerlink's Red Alert. I don't have the standard colour Red Alert, and there was various repaints of them in this mould, most noticeably in 2007 when the movie came out. They repainted them to a red colour, but if you were sticking to Armada, traditionally he was always white and navy blue, but I quite like him in orange. The Powerlink version does look nice, I really do dig it. And especially when he's in transformation mode, I think the character stands out better than he did when he was just navy blue and white. But the story behind Red Alert in Armada, he was a fierce warrior who lost his hand in combat and basically decided to help rebuild the Autobots. So he's basically Ratchet in the Armada universe. With his minicon, you get Long Arm, and you can basically guess why. But Long Arm actually does do quite a few things for Red Alert, and that's a cool, unique take on the character. There is a few modes you can do. One, which I like to do, is basically for vehicle mode. The other one is basically in combat mode. So let's grab Long Arm, normal little port right there, put him in the front. That opens up this part, and if you pull back, I'm just trying to make sure this doesn't fly across the room, a disc shoots out the front of the car, and as you can tell, sound effects still work brilliant in this. The other mode I'll leave until he's transformed, but actual car wise, he's really good. Good size, moves brilliant. For a size comparison, let's bring in recently acquired Sideswipe from Armada, and that gives you a rough idea of the height. He's quite a big character, especially when he's transformed as well. He doesn't really look like a robot, and this is where I always say he looks like Robocop, especially in the Powerlink's colours. He just looks like Robocop. The detail in his vehicle mode is really good. You can see we've got the lights up here, and there is a light source in here as well. They don't flash these, but they do flash at the front. You can see where the legs are hiding there, and that's it. If I flip him over, that's where the body is hiding. Transformation of the character is extremely simple. It is actually one of the easiest characters to do. First, let's come to the doors, and you're just unpegging them from this bit and just open them up. And here's the other cool thing you can do. So if you come to this bit and flip it down, so you close that up, you actually have a little ramp here where you can put like a minicon on. If I can get it just sitting right, but it's mostly for robot mode. Unfortunately, it doesn't really do it in vehicle mode, which I like to have done, but you can stick Long Arm there or any other minicon that you see fit. Come to the other side, do the exact same. And this is a cool thing. That's where his weapons are located. You've got like a mini Gatling gun, and he's got his traditional blaster you see in the cartoon, and that's the one we're going to take. So let's take that one out. So the character like this now, all you're doing is coming around here, flipping down this part, coming to the back, come here, do that, and flip up the head, and just lock this bit at the back. Come to the feet, move them down, and there's little tabs there you can flip out for back heels, and break away at the legs. Close these sections in, and you can flip them around if you want, but I just leave them like that, just because of the way it is. Right, so we come to the arms, we just grab them, flip them out, and we'll grab that blaster, put it on, do the exact same again, and we've got one of his hands, and there you go. There is Armada Red Alert, or Robocop, as I like to call him.
Your move, creep.
And I actually think he looks really good. Again, I like this colour. Very sturdy bot, and he doesn't look like any of the other Armada characters. He's quite a unique one to look at, but definitely one to stand out. So this is the part I was talking about. So we grab long arm again, and we'll put him in the back, peg him. You flip up this blaster. Now, as you've seen, there's a light there, and we'll just keep long arm there, and you can take this blaster out. And actually give him a rifle. So it's cool, you've got an extra weapon, again with the two you've already got. Posability with the figure, there is not really a lot there. You can see the knees move right there, you can get him standing perfect, and you can move the arms, but with the weight of the body, he is actually quite a heavy bot when he's in this robot mode. And because of the way the back and the front is, he's not really the best posable. But he does look great. Let's zoom in on those colours. Beautiful metallic red. And that orange just pop instantly. And the head sculpt's not that bad. And you see where I get the Robocop from? It just looks like Robocop. But I really do like Red Alert. He was one of my favourite characters in Armada. I just like this take on the character that he is a battle damaged warrior, and he's decided to set things aside to make sure the Autobots are up ready and fighting. Transformation for long arm, again, is very simple. You're just basically twisting that, folding down his little feet, put that round the back, and there you go. There is long arm, all ready for Red Alert as well. And there you have it, folks. That's Red Alert. Quick transformation for the size he is, and a very nice take on the character. Again, the Power Links colours is what I prefer. I'm not really a big fan of the white and navy blue. I know that's him more traditional, but having the orange, I think, looks really cool. Again, there was more colours that were brought out from later on, but I'm quite happy with this one. I've not really went out my way to try and update that line in Red Alert from Armada. I'm quite happy with this. Today, we are looking at one of the favourites in the Armada line for me, is of course Overload. There is a lot to this bot, but it's mostly with the add-ons and what he can do. It really is quite simple, and because of that, I will be adding extra stuff in this video today. So, like I teased at the end of Red Alert's video, we have got the Minicon Space Team, which forms the Requiem Blaster, which came with the Ultra Magnus Energon version, which is just a repaint of him. But there's problems with that because Overload couldn't hold it, and I'll show that when it gets into transformation mode. But as an extra bonus, what I'm going to add in as well is Laserbeak, and for some reason he's an Autobot. I don't understand why, but he's an Autobot in this one. But that's what we're going to cover today in today's video. But as you can see, Overload is actually quite a good length. He's a really good size. And some of the things I do like about him is what he can do. Now, everybody knows he can combine with Optimus Prime. I won't be doing it in this video. I'm going to be leaving that for the Power Links video, where I'm going to be using Power Links Jetfire, Power Links Optimus Prime and Ultra Magnus to create that combination. And that'll be near the end of the actual Armada series I'm doing. But today we're just going to purely focus on Overload and the other ones I've got. The bot still moves fantastic, which I do like, and in the series he really only showed up as the combination. He never really had a lot of on-screen time. If anything, he had nothing. The little comics in that you got with the Armada figures did show a lot more of Overload. I've not read any of the actual proper Armada comics that came out, so I would be telling a lie if I knew he was more in that, but assuming they would be known that they would emphasise more on all the characters. But he was one that could do a few things that were quite cool. So if we bring in Power Links Jetfire, and he's not going to sit right because I've got the attachments on him, you can see that that's what he could do. He could carry Jetfire. But the other thing which was cool about Overload, and if I just take Jetfire away and remove Rollout, which is his Minicon, which is also kind of like a Headmaster, you come underneath and you just flip these panels up. And if I bring in Power Links Optimus Prime, set him down, Optimus Prime can pull Overload. Now there is another gimmick as well. Bringing in Prime's trailer, as you can see I flip down this little hook underneath, and if I just angle this just right, there's a hole under the trailer. You can connect that. So when Prime's pulling the trailer, you can pull Overload as well. So it's nifty little ideas that you could do with this bot and the combinations that came with it. That was a lot of the selling points I loved about what this bot could do. We're going to start looking at transformations, and one thing you can do with Overload, if he was in the combination mode with Prime, is you can flip him round, flip down these two little pegs, and you've got a new blaster. But like I said, it is kind of like a Headmaster, and the way his Minicon worked was come to this panel, lift it up, peel down the legs, flip this bit down with the arms, flip round, fix the zoom, come at the head, flip it down, and you just flip up this little head, and there you go. There is Rollout, and it is a mini Headmaster. That is the way to take this bot completely. That is really it. Like I said, if you've seen the Energon review, which I will link in this video, it is just the exact same mould, it's just repainted. I actually do prefer those colours. I think they look a lot nicer on Overload, especially the grimier colour it's put on them. But that's not to take away what this bot was really like when I first got it. This is again one of the original bots I bought back in 2002. So now let's transform the body. Come into the trailer, come at the back, and what you're doing is just really unpegging these two, which release the arms down here, and you can just flip these round. So there you go. Come to the legs and just let them pop out. So then what you're doing is flipping the body round, twisting these parts round here. So they sit like that. Come to the legs, or the feet, sorry. Flip this panel and click. Just be careful, there is a missile here. And that would go with that one, and just do the exact same again. So that's Overload ready, and if I pick him up, the legs just slide on. And you can get him sitting a bit better if you want. I think he looks okay like that. Come back up to the top. Now we are going to flip round the wheels here. Put down these panels. Twist them round. They've got that excellent clicking noise as usual. Push them up. And there is the main torso. Come to rollout, and I've transformed them back, so now what you're looking at is this part where the little head was. You're flipping up the main head, close this, and if I push it in, it makes the original Transformers sound effect, which I still love. And that is Overload. That is really hit for him. There is really hardly any articulation. You can move the legs 90 degrees and the arms 90 degrees. That is it. There's no elbow joints. You can't twist the head. There's nothing. You can flip out these panels, which reveal missiles, but that is it. Now, bringing in the Space Minicon team, we have Astroscope, Payload, and Skyblast, and these guys formed the Requiem Blaster, which was one of the weapons the Minicons formed, the Decepticons and Autobots set out to hunt. You will see the Star Saber and the Sky Boom Shield in a later video. I'm actually saving them for a certain triple set, so to speak, a certain Seeker triple set, because I think they look a lot better on one certain bot, especially the colour scheme I've got. But these guys do combine to make a blaster. Transformation is tedious, I am not going to lie, especially when it comes to the way it sits and holds. And they look like this at the end result. I decided to do it quick because they are the most tedious, especially this one right at the end, which I still hate to this day. But that was the other gimmick. So these used to be a free pack, and that was like the whole selling point with the Armada. I was trying to get after all these minicons. I only bought certain teams, and it was the teams you've seen in the series, especially like so Preceptor, the Requiem Blaster, Sky Boom Shield, and the Star Saber. I wanted to get them, so let's now transform them into the Requiem Blaster. Now it's a Space Minicon team transformed into the Requiem Blaster. Let's bring back in Overload. And this is where the problem came, and this is why a lot of us didn't understand why this was packaged with Ultra Magnus with Energon. So, one of the biggest gripes about Overload is that clearing space for his hand, and if I bring in the Requiem Blaster, you can clearly see it's not going to fit. Now, thank you for Shapeways and 3D printing. I will leave a link for this. Here is an extender for certain minicons you want to use or anything like that extends the ports. So, first off, let's put on the extender. So it looks like that. And now, finally, after all this time, Overload can now harness the power of the Requiem Blaster. It does look a bit big when you look at it like that, but when that was meant to be with the packaging and it never held, we had to wait 20 odd years before we got something. And I will leave a link because some of the things I got off Shapeways to either fix missing parts or fix stuff like this, which was a bugbear, was annoying back in the day because you didn't have that. And a lot of us didn't understand why would they do that. Why would you put something with that bot when it doesn't join? I can get the whole space gimmick being with him because of Jetfire and the way Jetfire can sit on him, but when you're looking at as a weapon that he can wield, it does look kind of silly when he can't hold it. But thankfully we have got that add-on and it just looks incredible, and I can't thank Shapeways enough for that. But yeah, that is Overload. There is not a lot with this character. Again, you'll see him back, but it will be the Ultra Magnus recolor when I do the combination video at the end. It'll probably be the second last video. Of course, I'm leaving one for the very last. You could probably guess it, but I guarantee there's nothing you're ever going to see like this one. It's coming for it. But I did say there was going to be a bonus transformer in this, so let's look at Laserbeak. So Laserbeak in the series was a camcorder, and yes, he was an Autobot. And You can see we've got Optimus Prime in there. We have the Autobot logo. And he still makes noises. So the camcorder had this little bit you can press down. Turns into a blaster. And there you go. So it's just like one of those kids' toys you get in 2007 for the Transformers. Now the ones that transformed into a phone and stuff. Armada done it here. But let's get into proper Laserbeak mode. And this is where I still love it. Now, come here. Press this button. Up pops the head. Hold it down again. And out pops the wings. They're actually meant to pop as soon as they do it. But I think it's just wear and tear. It is over 20-year-old now. Well, nearly 20-year-old, sorry. But there you go. There is Laserbeak. And I really do like this version. I know he's a Decepticon. He always will be the cassette. But I just love the look of that. The camera's not really picking up how orange it is. It is kind of like a fluorescent orange. Whereas what you're seeing as the image, it kind of just looks like a bright orange. But it is quite fluorescent to see. But there you go, guys. That is it. Overload. And the Requiem Blaster, Space Minicon team, and Laserbeak. And continuing with Armada, one I actually had to recently purchase because I never actually had the figure at all back in the day, was Hoist. It is basically the rebuild of Smokescreen. If you follow the Armada cartoon, Smokescreen got damaged, he got rebuilt into Hoist. Now, this figure really has nothing. It legit has nothing. Right, okay, you've got your Minicon, and that is it. So you've got Refute here. And the way this Minicon works, and it was actually thanks to Ninja Bill, I didn't know about this from back in the day. There's a little patch here, a little gear. Now, if you're moving this along, you can kind of guess the gimmick, okay? But if you stick that on Cyclonus, and the way the gear setup is, and do the tail action, when you're making the propeller spin, that will keep grabbing or doing anything other Minicons can do. I didn't know about that, so thank you, Bill, for pointing that out. And I don't have any other Minicons. This was like the first Minicon in, well, close to 20 years that I've got something that, apart from Crumple Zone, that Cyclonus could use. So Refute could easily go on him under the legs. He sits like that, and that's how that works. But when it comes to Hoist, the gimmick is quite, it's simple, okay? So you come to the back here, and this part is meant to come down and lock in here. And that's meant to stop this from going back, because this is the gimmick, which is just move that. Get the Minicon, and all you're doing is putting them on. And nothing happens to mine. What's meant to happen, that's meant to go back, and you can do that now. That is, it is not the most sturdiest, it is not the most simplest in the sense of, while that works, it really doesn't work. But he looks okay, and I wanted it for the collection. I didn't pay a lot of money for him. It is a very simple bot to transform and stuff. So, come to the legs, and what we're doing is just splitting them. Like so, moving them down, locking them there, and there's that. Coming to the feet, they just flip round awkwardly. They don't really sit that great. But it's so you can keep the bend like that. Coming up to the middle, all you're doing is lifting the arms out. So here's one arm. Get the hand ready. See, that makes no sense to me, because why? Do you know what I mean? It just doesn't make sense. I knew what I was going to say there, but does that look stupid? Should that not really go in that way without me breaking it? Because that would make sense. Oh god. So, let's do this side. Same again, you're just doing that. Bringing this part up, twisting the head round, and there you go. You have got Hoist. in all his glory. That is it. That is it, guys. I've only done maybe 4 minutes worth of video. He is the quickest thing I've ever seen in Transformer-wise. The sculpt looks like he's constipated. Colours look fine. The idea of him, especially being in Transformers Armada, does pay off. It kind of like makes sense. So let's zoom in. Yep. Constipated face. It really does look constipated. But that is it. And the only gimmick you've got is the arm. So if he's standing like this, it's kind of like just a counter punch. That is it. There's nothing else to it. That's it. It's just hoist. If we bring in Refute, transforming him is actually quite simple as well. So let's sharpen up the camera. Pull them down, flip round, and twist. There you go. That's it. That's it, guys. That's the quickest transformation I've got. He does look fine. Like I said, I didn't know about the gimmick. You could do a Cyclonus, so it was really cool to see that. But yeah, he's fine. But because of how quick this was going to be, I did promise these guys to be in the video. So let's look at them. So here we have the Street Action Minicon team, which was always with the humans. We've got Grinder, who's a skateboard, Highwire, which was the BMX, and then we've got Sure Shock just in the middle. And these guys transformed as well into their minicons, which we'll do just now. And there you go, guys. That is them transformed, but that was not just the main gimmick. A lot of the reasons why everybody wanted this set, there was quite a various ones. You had the Energon version, which kind of changed these bots up. I have seen the Takara Armada version, which came with a CD. Unfortunately, on eBay, it's going for like close to £100. I genuinely cannot afford that. But I've still got the ones from when I bought them back in the day. These guys combine, okay? But unlike the Requiem Blaster, the Star Saber, the Skyboom Shield, if you didn't know, they formed into a mini robot. So let's piece them all together. And with the Streetwise Minicon team combined, we have Preceptor. This is a complete different take on the character with that name, as we always know it's a scientist, but it's pretty cool to see him like this. It's just a Minicon combined together. So if we bring in Refute, for a size comparison, that gives you just a rough idea. And if I bring back in Hoist, just for finishing up this video, why Refute decides to take a dive. Now, where do I stand with Hoist? The character's okay, right? I wouldn't say rush out and buy it. There is better, far better Armada figures you can get. But if you're after the complete series, if it's collecting what came out toy-wise, or collecting what came out in the series-wise, and you want to have that side to it, which what I'm doing more the TV side. There's a few other ones that I really don't want. They never showed up in the series, and I don't see the point in them. So, sticking to the series, I knew I had to get him. So, fair enough, I waited quite a while. So, 2002 to 2020, 18 years before I finally pulled the trigger on him. He's okay. It could have been better. And that's the bad side to it. It could have been better, but because it was such a short review, I decided to throw in the Streetwise Minicon team. They are really good, and those guys I would recommend if you're collecting either side of Armada. Like I said, there is a Takara one. It comes with a CD. There's various different colours. You've got the Energon version, and then you've got other colours. There's been so many redos of this little guy, and I totally recommend picking up any version. You will not be disappointed. Hey everyone, Optimus Wilbur here, and this video is not suitable for children under the age of 13. This is aimed at young collectors and adult collectors. Let's start the video. Welcome everyone back to another Optimus Wilbur reviews, and if you want to make baby Grimlock happy, why not hit the subscribe button, like the video, leave a comment, share it amongst your Transformer friends. This helps the channel out so much. And if you want to help the channel as well, why not look in the description box. There's links to various things if you want to see behind the scenes with toy photography, various other things you can do to help support the channel. And I can't thank you enough. Continuing with Armada, we have got Sideswipe, and likes of Armada, Hoist and Armada. Smokescreen, I had to wait near 20 years to own this guy. The sad thing is, being in the UK, I could not get one with Nightbeat, his Minicon, or his Missile. Which is a shame, really. This is really the only one I've not got complete. But it doesn't mean I can't show him off still. But because of how quick things are going to be, I decided to take a punt on another one. And similar to the Smokescreen video, which I showed Treadfoot, which was a repaint of Scavenger, I wanted Sideways. Now, out of all the Armada figures, like I said, I'm going for the series, the actual TV series bots. I cannot get Thrust or Wheeljack without paying over the odds. And I really can't afford that. So, I went for Sideways, and I wanted him complete. Again, try to get one complete in the UK is a nightmare, but what I did find was his repaint for Energon Rapid Run. And I actually prefer this version of him. It's this the exact same bot, just it looks like a wasp, and I think that's incredible. But we'll get to him eventually. With Sideswipe now, instead of looking like a Lamborghini, he looks more like a Nissan Skyline, which is one of my favourite Japanese cars of all time. And it moves perfect, and you can clearly see there's the head sculpture. And where Nightbeat would have to sit, if you flip this down, he'd go in here, and you'd push this bit forward and make things go faster. Well, in the cartoon at least anyhow. That's how it's meant to work and look. But that is really the gimmick. There's nothing really else Sideswipe does, especially when you compare it to Rapid Run. Rapid Run's very unique when I get to him. But transforming Sideswipe is... it took me a little bit to get used to. So, pull back the camera. Sharpen things up. I'm going to come under here first, flip out the feet, come here, flip this part down, which will expose the head, and that's the arms ready to move as well. So you can just bring those there, and what I like to do is lock everything back up. I don't like the hands just like flapping out like this, like they're big boxing gloves. Come here and you can put this part down, and that exposes the head. Come to the legs, you're moving them down, straighten them up, and then you can just put these down here, fix the body, and there you go, there is Sideswipe. So let's have a better look at him. And he looks okay. The head sculpt is a bit different, it looks like more jazz, but the rest of him does look okay. Like I said, I really do wish I had this as a complete bot, but I'll take it for what it is and just be happy he's in the collection. Again, being in the UK is pretty tough trying to get bots, and especially if they're more than 20 years. You can get lucky, or in my case you don't. But I'm happy he's in the collection. I'm happy that I finally have him to sit with the rest of the guys, and I've got him at least from the TV perspective of the TV series. If I can get Nightbeat and the Missile from eBay down the line, by all means, you know I will do it. It's just if I can find them separate and at a reasonable price. And now we have Rapid Run, which is of course the repaint of Sideways from Armada. Now this was for the Energon toy line, but it never made it into the show where other bots were repainted and made it in. He didn't make it in. With his Minicons though, this is why I really like them, because they are headmasters. You have Night Screen, which when he puts on, which is the top one if I remember, he becomes an Autobot. And Night Cruise, which is the legs. and he puts him on, he becomes a Decepticon. And for what I remember, mostly from the cartoon, Sideways was really out for himself. He never really picked a side, so to speak. So it's kind of like a unique character where he was just interested in himself, and you've seen it throughout the cartoon. And I really wanted this bot for such a long time. So let's take the Minicons, and if we split them in two, now as you can see, they transform into like sort of a rider. You can turn them round, and if I've got this right, fix the legs have got to turn back round. You've got this guy here. Now, with the paint, I don't know if it's a Takara one, but he should have red eyes. And if we take this one and just push the head back down, fix the legs, just have to push that head up a little further, and there you go. So exposes two heads and two Minicons. That one really just doesn't want to stand properly until I fix his legs. There we go. Stay. God damn it. Now we've got them like this, obviously you want to get them into like headmaster mode. So what you've got to do, if I sharpen up, put the hands down like this, and you're just doing that. You're putting them out like pincers. Doesn't really matter what way you want them to look, but you can do that. I'll just tidy his one up. And there you go, there's one. Bring in the other, exact same again, put down the arms. Twist the legs a bit, and there you go. Transforming Rapid Run was actually quite easy, and it took me a little bit to figure out what I was doing wrong, because originally I couldn't find the logos, and I was quite worried in case something happened, because the logos show up here. He shows no insignia until he puts on one of these headmasters. So, transformation. If I pull back the camera, come down here and pull back the arms. You see the exhaust turn into two missiles, which can be fired with the Minicons. Take up the legs and unpeg, and they're on that little hook you can just pull down, so just slide them down, turn these round, and you're just pushing them in. Lock up the feet. Coming at the back bit now, what you want to do is push the arms that way and twist up the wheels and just lock them like that. That allows you to fix the legs for a better standing position. Come back here, move these sections out again, and twist and move this part down. Now this part can come off a couple of times with me. I think it's just the ball joint. It's just wear and tear. Flip the arms round here, and there you go. So this is the part where I was confused, because I was like, where's his head? I genuinely thought I was missing something until I realised you've got to do this. Grab the handlebars, up pops the head, and there you go. There is Rapid Run. And what made it better was the paint job. I just think that look of the Wasp just looks fantastic. So of course you can put the Minicons in here, that will shoot them out. The legs really only have 90 degrees, and the arms can really only go like that. The hands can't move, but you can get a little tilt here if you want to do something with them. But that's really it. There's nothing really else you can do. But the main gimmick was, of course, the headmasters. Now, with the headmasters, what you have to do is look for these two little parts here, and that's where I was confused with these arms. So what you got to do, close back up the head, pull back a little bit so you can see it, and we'll put this one in first. Let's make him a Decepticon. Just slide that in, it'll click, and there you go. There is the Decepticon insignia, and I give you a rough idea with the head on. It looks kind of silly, but you kind of get the idea. He's trying to go in disguise. So we'll take that one off, and we'll put on the Autobot one. Exact same again. Just put them in, fix up his legs just here. And there you go. There is Rapid Run with the Autobot insignia. It is a really cool idea, and that's why I really wanted this character. I just loved how this toy incorporated and made sure that that gimmick carried over. I was really impressed when I got this. It's one of my favourites. And again, I'm gutted I waited so long to pick one up. So let's bring back in Sideswipe for a size comparison. And there you go, it's actually a really good size, and I'm happy the two of them are in the collection. If you can get them, get them. If you want to complete Armada, Rapid Run or Sideways, either or, is worth it. Continuing with Armada, we have got probably a fan favourite here in Tidal Wave. This is a Tidal Wave I got back, I think 2002. And I don't remember these colour schemes being in a cartoon. I do remember them being black and grey. And you can get that one in Japan. I did manage to find one that was it was called Shockwave, with the black grey colours with the purple, and I quite like that colour. But when they're wanting £300 for an Armada bot, that's kind of where I draw the line. But Tidal Wave was unique because he was a combiner in many ways. Like, all these parts, if you've never seen them combine, they form Tidal Wave, or they join onto Megatron for armour. That will be in a later video. That's going to be with Galvatron, so then I can bring him in to the videos. And that gives you like the contrast between the upgraded Optimus Prime and the upgraded Megatron. And they'll be towards the very end. So, Tidal Wave comes with his Minicon Ramjet. And Ramjet is just basically a small Minicon. There's nothing really to it. You just can fold them down there, put the wings in, and there you go. Now zoom in, sharpen the camera. That is basically Ramjet. Now, all three of these ships, so to speak, they all have their own unique takes on what they can do, and I think really the game captured really what Tidal Wave was meant to be. If you remember him from Energon, he was quite small, and it was the same in Armada. His character was small considering a battleship, hovercraft, and like a destroyer. Every single one has wheels, and that's because they all link up to form a big version. But you can go through individual ones and check out their quick gimmick before you combine them all together. Starting with the hovercraft, you could just open these parts up and flip down like seats. Doing this side. And that's really it. And you can put up these parts as barriers if you want. But that is really it. And it can hold a couple of Minicons, 4 with the pegs. And that is basically this. Now this forms the legs for Tidal Wave. And to get him into his next mode, what we have to do is basically just open them like that. Bringing in the midsection, you can see he's got missiles and he has turrets. What you can do, if you take Ramjet or any Minicon, just place them on and they move the turrets. That is it. And that's where the head is housed as well. So, to get him into the next wave, see what I did there? Open this up and twist around without firing the missile, because they like to shoot off, and that's him ready. And the final piece, the aircraft carrier, again you can see you can house 3 Minicons, but there is a hidden compartment, and it's really for Ramjet. So you can, if my nail grips it, flip this part up if it wants to come up, grab Ramjet, and you can place him like so. And he can be stored in there, so what you've got to do is fold up the wings, put back the cone of the craft, and there you go, you can hide them. Now the instructions show that you have to pull these bits apart to do the next thing. You really don't. All you have to do is just do that to have them ready. And with this, all you got to do is just be careful how you're placing them in. So the way I do it is in at a diagonal angle, bring it in, and clip. And there's the first part done. Bring it round, and you can see there's another clip there. Lock that in, and then what you can do is realign the legs. And there is Tidal Wave combined in basically his ultimate transformation mode. And this was the part where it made no sense, because it's like, yeah, it's kind of small, but in the game, the Transformers Armada game, he was big, he was gigantic, and you ran the full course of this ship, and it was brilliant to actually see that. Now, the only bad thing is, as you can see, mine's kind of just goes a little slightly in there, and that's just basically wear and tear of a bot is nearly 20 years old, which is hard to believe. He did have great repaints. The Energon one is one of my favourites. The black one probably is the one I really wanted, but again, I didn't really want to pay £300 for an Armada bot. Now, all important thing is transformation. He is by far the simplest, and let's see how it's done. Transformation for Tidal Wave is really simple. Like I said, he looks brilliant. I love the Decepticon logo there, and the colours do look good. Transformation is really simple. So, come down to this section and lift up. What you want to do is just flip these legs down to about like that, and then you want to twist them round, so then they're going this way, and it's all on that hinge, so you don't have to worry. Close these parts here, and then you can just open the feet. Come to the midsection and twist round. Now we're going to work on the upper body. Come to the upper body, and what you're doing, I'm actually going to take off the missiles because these will fly off, knowing my luck. So come here and unclip and just bring down. You might have to just do that. There's his arms. Come to the middle section, and what you're doing is just see what way they're coming, because the way I'm angled. Twist that part round, form a hand, same again, up, pull the thumb out, form a hand, and we'll twist this section round, like so. Finally, come to the head section, just pull up, and there you go, you've got Tidal Wave fully transformed. And if he wants to stand, let's see if he will, because does it really like standing, this one? Just make sure everything's out flat as possible. There we go. And that's it. There you have it. Tidal Wave fully transformed. Zoom in on that mug of his. And the detail is actually still really good. I really still do like the detail. But the most important thing was he could combine to Megatron for armour parts. Now, posability. The arms go 90 degrees, the legs go back and forward. That is it. There's hardly anything in this figure. And it's a shame. I'd love to see a new version of him and how that would work, especially now with the mechanics that some of the bots are now using. But he was really good, and a good height. That's what I liked as well. It's like a good having a Decepticon at this height. The sad thing was we never really got it to that level until Unicron came out. And you think with being battleships, they might have pushed the boat, but then again, if it's combining a Megatron, then obviously the size thing has to play into that. So that was the only downside to Tidal Wave. Apart from that, I still like it. It's one of the ones where it was a fan favourite back in the day. And he kind of still is. People still want this updated. Same with Cyclonus and a few other of the Armada figures. Now we're in the final stretch. We're in with the big boys now. So, Powerlink's Jetfire and Cometer. I missed out on the original paint Jetfire, the grey one with the white, and that's the one I really wanted, but I managed to pick up Powerlink's Jetfire from back in the day. I managed to have him roughly, say, about 2003. I couldn't really find the other one back in the UK in the day, but this one was there, and this is what I really wanted. Why? Because of, in the cartoon, he combines with Optimus Prime, and that was one of the selling points with Armada with me. I loved this whole combination gimmick with Optimus Prime. Now, if we move forward in time, it's used quite a bit now, like Jetfire can combine to Optimus Prime. That happened in Revenge of the Fallen, and there's various variations of Prime combining onto other Autobots. But the first time I seen it was Armada, and Jetfire was kind of the second in command in that cartoon. But regarding the toy is just the exact same with the original version and the Powerlinks version. There is no difference apart from the colour. He has a solid bot and he can move because of his shield underneath, which gives like treads a little bit, and Cometer is meant to lie down a little bit better, but again, with this material for what I use for reviewing, is not the greatest. But in shuttle mode, I do love this. I do love the look. I've always been a fan of stuff from like space, UFOs, stuff like that. And to have a transformer that's based on a shuttle is pretty nifty. So, what can you do in this mode? Well, it's mostly the look, and if you come back to the tail here, and what we'll do, we'll have him ready to blast off. So that's one sound effect, and of course if you pressed it the other way, it's a blast effect. Now, you can see something has fell off. The missiles refuse to stick. Apparently you can put the minicon on and he's dropped the missiles, but I'm actually going to take them away just now. And that was meant to be one of the gimmicks. They just drop these missiles. Mine just refuse point blank to stay on half the time. So if you've got him in this mode as well, let's take off his minicon. And we'll keep him like that just now. Bring the minicon back in, and with the port, just pop it in, and he should have extra wings. This one's not wanting to pop. There we go. And he can do that, which is quite a cool idea. I do like that gimmick, and it kind of gives it more of like that Armada look, so to speak, because he is a bulky space shuttle. But the most important thing was he could combine to Optimus Prime. That won't happen in this video. I've teased it with so many bots about the combination. That's its own one video, and it's going to be a complete Powerlinks Optimus Prime, the repaint of Overload, which was Ultra Magnus, and of course Powerlinks Jetfire. That's going to be the second last video, which I can tell you just now. That I won't show today, but to give you a little clue what he looked like if you've never seen it.
Jet Convoy, transform!
And that's how it was. It was so cool, the Jet Optimus. I really loved it. But the most all-important thing is, of course, transformation. So let's get him transformed, have a look at Jetfire, and we will finish up this video. So to transform Cometer, it's quite simple. First, unpeg the back and bring the wheels forward. And you're wanting them to line up like that. Kind of like Johnny 5. If you don't know who Johnny 5 is, you're missing out. Turn that bit round, turn it around, and there you go. You have his minicon already. Jetfire, on the other hand, is quite straightforward. So what we'll do is we'll start at the back, unpeg, and release the gun. come to the wings and just move them out the way. Next we're going to remove the shield, and that's that took away. Come to the feet, flip down, the legs, just pull down. I usually just leave those bits like that. You can twist them round if you want, it's entirely up to yourself. And the way stands, you do have to arch the legs just a little bit. It's because of the way the thrusters are at the back. They do tend to like push them off balance. Come to the wings now, and what we're doing is we're flipping them round like this. Flipping them out. And that gives space for the hands to appear. Now you can put them like that, but preferably they're meant to be like this. Come to the arms, flip them out. Make sure the back's nice and tight, and then you come back to the arms to slide them down. Both elbows on that nice 45-degree angle, and you can turn these arms all the way around. Bring back a shield, flip this part round, and you can connect it, say about there. Okay. Now that's done, we can finally put on his gun. Come to this part now of the shuttle, and you're just flipping it down. Again, it will open the back, so you just want to close that back up. Flip open these parts and reveal the head. If I can grab it, and there you go. There is Jetfire in all his glory. One of my favourite Autobots from the Armada line. And he just looks incredible in that Power Links recolour. The missiles you just put in the back, and that's it. They just sit there. But again, mine's like to fall off, so I've not put them back on to show what the Minicon can do. They are so annoying. But it gives you a rough idea, and I quite like the colour scheme of the Power Links version. I've always preferred the other one. But I think when you're combining it to the dark blue Optimus Prime, the colours are very close to match. And having the Ultra Magnus on top with that blue matches as well, so it kind of like the colour scheme pays off in every way, so it's nice to have that. But let's zoom in, let's look at that head sculpt, and you can see it's all translucent as well, which I always appreciate. I always love stuff like that, with a beautiful Autobot logo as well, and the detail in the paint is good. Very sturdy figure. And like I said, posability, it's really just this. Like I said, those legs you've got to put at that slight angle because of the way the thrusters are at the back. They just like to fall over. And that's one of the things where putting extra weight on them when it's a Power Links version, it doesn't really like to stand majority of the time. You've got to sometimes prop him up against something if he's got Overload or Ultra Magnus on the back of Prime. And that's just one of those little things. But back in the day, this was brilliant. This was absolutely fantastic, and what an Armada character he was. Later on, of course, Energon version I missed out on, and the Cybertron one, I never got those two. But the Armada one out of that trilogy was probably my favourite out of them all. Yes, the Seekers are here, but I'm focusing more on Starscream because he was the one mostly in Transformers Armada. Yes, Thundercracker did show up towards the end, but it is just a repainted Starscream, and it's Power Link Starscream if you're going with the cartoon. Skywarp only showed up in the comics, if I remember correctly. I don't remember him in the cartoon, but Thundercracker was there. But when it comes to the toys, we did get all the Seekers. Skywarp eventually got repainted into Ramjet. Mega jealous of Danny Dolphin. She's got Ramjet. It's the only Armada one I'm missing. But the figures were brilliant. They absolutely were incredible. Thundercracker was the last one I managed to get hold of. I originally bought Skywarp first, and I had to order Starscream. Every single one of them comes with their Minicon, Swindo. Skywarp comes with Thunderclash. And depending where you're looking up for Thundercracker, it's Spark Grid, but it's just a repaint of Swindle. So that's really it, but let's have a look mostly at Starscream. The jet was unique. It wasn't the typical Starscream look. Of course he's a jet, but when you look at him, it's more of like a bomber style than like the F-15, the Raptor, stuff like that we were always used to. This new take on him was a fan favourite instantly. And the character was unique in the cartoon. It wasn't much different than the retelling of Starscream's story all the time, trying to overthrow Megatron. That happened quite a bit, but there was a personality in this character. It wasn't just, there's another Starscream. This Starscream was unique. Like, there was moments in the series where you genuinely think he was going to cross. But he didn't cross. He stuck to what he was, and at the end he died. But the toy is something that I've always wanted. I fell in love with the concept of this, and the toy doesn't let it down. So under here we've got his Minicon Swindle. If you're in jet mode, you can hide them there, and if you press the cockpit, it makes a different noise. Now you can release Swindle, and you can put him on the back, which brings up these two thrusters. That's the main power link gimmick. But he is a good size, and if I flip him over, you can see where everything's housed. Basically, he is a really easy transformer to transform. So having Swindle off, if you press the cockpit again, it makes like a blast effect. But the transformation for Starscream is extremely simple. So it doesn't really matter where you start. But what I like to do is come to the legs, flip the legs round, and at this position, as soon as they're there, come to the midsection and just flip all the way around till you've got this bend. Click. Come at the bottom of the feet, flip them open, click the legs in place. Come to this section, give them that classic Starscream look while I press the button. Come at the arms, you can flip them down like that. And come at the hands, they're just neatly tucked away. Flip them open. Finish it off. Come at the wings and just flip them down. And there you go, that is Starscream transformed. A brilliant take on the character, a brilliant look to him. If we zoom in, some of the details, it's just an amazing look. The grin says it all. And the paint was brilliant. I do believe this is a Takara version. If I remember right, this one is a Takara one compared to the other two, which is Hasbro. But I'm positive this was a Takara version I ordered. But an incredible, incredible bot. Just looks amazing. So let's transform Swindle. Swindle is pretty easy. All you've got to do is push down front bit of the car. Come here, just put out the arms like so. Push down the fin or the spoiler and just separate the legs. There you go. Swindle. Putting Swindle in the back, if I can clip him in. There we go. You can make jet noises if you pull him back. But the main gimmick is if you push down, need a little help, fires out these thrusters, which was the main gimmick, this blast they had. And that's not going to stop, is it? So that's one of the gimmicks the toy had. The other gimmick was one I truly loved. So if I put back thrusters, come to the wing, only in the left one, and take it off. This one likes to keep coming off, but they're easy to put back on. Take the wing and just flip it open into a sword. And there you go. There is a weapon for Starscream. And that was one of the things. Now, he did get re-released in the Generations line. And it did fix a lot of things that I think this toy did need. So, one of the main issues that, as a collector, especially if you've got certain bays and you're wanting likes of the Armada stuff to fit in. So the likes of the way I've got these guys standing is with Megatron and Galvatron from Armada. And the main issue is the backpack. That does not flip down. That stays like that constantly. So you've got this extra space where the body basically ends here. It can be annoying, but it is something you can work around and you do get used to. So some of the extras I wanted to do, because this video had a lot of extras, I was bringing in the Sky and Boom shield and the Star Saber sword, but it's the Dark Star Saber sword, and this is why I always give them to Starscream. I don't know why, I've just always have. So let's equip Star Saber and the Sky Boom shield. Just make sure he holds it correctly. And there you have this Dark Star Saber, and I can't remember what version that is of the Sky Boom shield because there is different colours. I know somebody in the chat will tell me, but I like giving them to Starscream because he has a sword. So let's give him like the sword and the shield, especially if you're going up against Megatron. It's one of those things, guys. I'd buy him. This, if you love Armada, you love Starscream, that Starscream right there is one of the best. If I just focus up the camera, it's one of my favourites. There's never been, apart from maybe the Generation 1 version Starscream or the Tetrajet, that another Starscream has captured me and go, you need to have this. Of course, being a collector down the line, you do pick up likes of the Raptor version and other versions like Energon, etc. But having the Armada version, especially what the character was like, is incredible. So let's get the other two transformed and we'll finish up the video. And there you have it, folks. There's the Seekers all transformed, standing together. You can clearly see Thundercracker is just a repaint of Starscream. There is nothing different. Skywarp, however, is, if I zoom in the face, different face sculpt, and the front of the jet is completely different to Starscream and Thundercracker. So that's really the only noticeable differences. They all make the exact same sound effect, but when you've got the three of them together, they do look cool. And it's a set I've always loved, having the three of them together. And they've got the colours reminiscence of the Generation 1. Starscream's missing a bit of blue, but replacing it with black and dark grey I think was a good call. Making them near enough all red just stands out amongst all three of them. Absolutely incredible. There's not much I can say bad about the figure apart from the backpack. That is it. Movement wise, you can pose them basically how you're seeing them just now. The arms can go in and out that way. You've got that elbow. The legs can fold a bit because of the transformation. The head doesn't turn. Well, at least not my versions. I don't think they do, at least anyhow. There's not really much. The way you see them is how you can pose them, and it's mostly because of the backpack. That's the only hindrance to it. Now we are near the end of Armada. There's really only two main bots left to go, apart from the two videos with the combinations, but we'll count them separate. But when you think about it, we really just have Megatron and Prime and a certain Planet Eater still to come. But this is a revisit. I did Megatron well over, how long's the channel been going now? So right at the start, nearly right at the start, I done Armada Prime and Armada Megatron because they were the first two Transformers I bought. And I didn't feel I gave the bot a good sense of a review at the time. I didn't have a really good enough equipment to do it. And now I wanted to give it the full look I do with all the videos now, and behind the scenes stuff with the toy photography. But Armada Megatron is one of my favourite Megatrons, and the fact it's a throwback to the Generation 2 tank mould, and then they brought this version back in Combiner Wars as a different variation of that tank. And of course I've got the third party version which I've done a video on, and that has the two sets of stuff that you can make it either Combiner Wars Megatron or Combiner Wars Armada Megatron, and it's black and purple, and it was brilliant. So to finally get back to this guy and give it the review I think it deserved is something I've really wanted to do and I've looked forward to so much. Tank mode is perfect. In my opinion, it's perfect. And you can see where it's carried over to the likes of the Siege line for Megatron, especially where everything connects. There is a lot of hidden features though in the tank. It's not just a standard tank. So of course you've got the main barrel, and if you push it, it makes a sound effect. Missile fires out. If we use his Minicon, Leader 1, I like how they actually done that from the GoBots. And if we push him back, now there is that sound effect is going to play all the time. But these missiles come up and you can fire them, which is pretty cool as well. Come here, flip this button, we have missile launchers. There's nothing in them, it's just a gimmick. We can close that down. And then we've got, I can't remember if it's like a jail or whatever, but we've got a cargo bay as well, if I can open it here. And you can put nothing on it because nothing fits. There's a lot of slots where you can put mini cons in, and of course round here as well. This flips up, if I can grab it without nails. And again, you can put a mini con there if you want. But it has got one at the back here. Flip it down, and that's meant to grab Minicon. So what we'll do, because it's just next to me, we'll bring in chrome spark plug, and that gives you a rough idea of like sort of how it would look. But overall, the tank mode is my favourite. I absolutely still love this tank mode. The pincers, however, was one thing I was never a fan of. I didn't really like these big pincers. They can close and they're meant to grab stuff, but that was it. They've never really done anything. But tank mode, I loved. Still can move perfect going back and forward. And of course the repaint in Galvatron was brilliant. But comparing the two paints though, I think there's more detail in this compared to the Galvatron one, so I'll show you that just now. Having the two side by side, okay, you've got the battle damage parts in Galvatron, whereas you don't have it on Megatron. But there's various other parts coloured in and more detailed with the paint compared to Galvatron, where I think it's just put the colours on and that was it. Galvatron will show up after Prime. He's going to be there with Tidal Wave for the combination, so that's when you'll get to see Galvatron. But let's talk transformation, so let's start with Leader 1. If I take him off and we'll push Megatron out the way. Neat little tank, well, battle car, whatever you want to call it. He can move really good as well, still for this time. And if I just sharpen the camera, all you're doing is transform him, flip him down like that. And there you go, transformed. Megatron is extremely simple to transform. So the way I like to do it, start at the back, so let's get his feet. Flip these parts down, come underneath where everything's hidden, and just split apart the legs. Now that he's standing, we're going to have to twist everything round. So pull up the midsection, flip the turret round so it's like this, and I'm going to be cutting this because every time, that's why. And what you're doing is just flipping the body round. Flip this section back round again. Come underneath, you're going to see everything hook up there, and that's just to line everything up. Just close it down. Open these panels here. Flip out the arms. Then come at the front, slide it down, and there you have Armada Megatron all transformed. A brilliant size and a brilliant take on the character. Especially the colour scheme I really loved, because it has got parts of it being a Generation 2, which I love. The only thing I didn't like was he didn't have a fusion cannon, and the way they worked around it was with the power link mode. And what you had to do, you get those two ways. That was one, or that, which I extremely hate. I do not like that whatsoever. And it's meant because you can do that and turn around, and that's all you get to hear. I do not like that version. So what I like to do for a weapon is I take Leader 1 and I put him down like this. And I just put him on like that, and he's kind of got like a mini fusion cannon. It's not the greatest, but it can do hidden features with the bot mode. He's got this knife that can come out. You can use a mini con if you want to push it down. But when it comes to posability, there's really just this. Only the arms move going that way and back round with that hinge at the elbow. The head can turn slightly, but not the best. Legs can't go forward because of the way the transformation works. But after all these years with it, it's still one of my favourites. Still to this day, I still love looking at it. And the fact that they released a new version in the Combiner Wars, which I thought was fantastic, and I missed out on it. I even missed out on the official Combiner Wars Megatron. There wasn't really a lot in Britain. And thankfully I got a third party one, which was a different take. It was all black, it looked a lot cleaner, a lot nicer, and that was a nice way to keep everything different, in my opinion. Now, throughout all the times, they've always teased with Armada Prime. We had that prototype, and now we've got a third-party naval commander coming. But I would like to have seen something official come to stand next to that Combiner Wars Armada Megatron. Especially with, like, the memories I've got of this guy, like, being the second Transformer I bought him in Prime at the same time. And he was just brilliant. Absolutely loved the character in the show. I love the look of this. So let's do a height comparison. Because I've still got him from the last video, let's bring in Starscream. Put him behind him. And that gives you a rough idea of the height. He was actually quite big for a size for a leader class at the time. And if I zoom in for some of the details are actually quite sharp. Especially the way they've got the mesh working with the Decepticon logos. You've got a mini one in there for the face mask where it goes up in battle mode. And it just looks great. Overall, fantastic character, fantastic toy. And if you're collecting Armada and you do not have him, you need him. You absolutely need him. Either or with the Galvatron version, I do like both. But this one is special to me. Very special, and I'm quite happy I managed to bring him back again, but do it the way I wanted to do it for a review. The big important thing today is we're looking back once again at Transformers Armada Optimus Prime. That's right, we covered this video roughly when I started the channel, and at the time I didn't really have a lot of good equipment. I actually made the video on a webcam, and I'll link the video so you can get to see what it looks like originally, but I wanted to go back over it again and give it the review I think it really does deserve, especially if I'm covering all the Armada videos. And it's one of my favourite bots. The reason it's probably one of my favourite bots, and if you don't know the story with this one, this was the first Transformer I bought, along with Megatron from Armada, but this one just stands out so much for me. And considering now Fans Hobby is releasing Naval Commander, which is a third-party concept of the Armada Optimus Prime, I thought it was fitting that we did revisit it, redo the video, and give it all the touches I really wanted it to do at the time. He is massive. It's such a long trailer for him. He moves perfect. The figure is fantastic. As you can see, he comes with all sorts. The trailer's great. On this material, it doesn't really move good because it's just little wheels under here, but I can assure you he does move. Going back and forward, going across. Size comparison, there's only really one bot I can bring in to do a size comparison with this. And that is, of course, Powerlink's Optimus Prime. Now, he will be in his own video, but it's really going to be for the combinations. I'm not going to review two of the exact same bot, especially when this one has a few parts missing, notably in the trailer. But as you can see, I've got now 3D printed custom stacks that have been painted. So that's really the size comparison. He is big, but when it comes to the combinations, I'm going to leave it to this guy so he gets his own video. Taking the trailer off, this is kind of now one of the standard modes you get to see Optimus. Now we're keeping back to the Generation 1 style, but for a long time just there we actually had this style. Now in known Generation 2 we had the Laser Optimus Prime, which then went to Scourge, but for a long time, especially because of the movies, this long nose version of the truck was kind of standard. So to see Optimus like this in the colours he's represented in was something different. Now, this is the Western version. The Takara version doesn't have the gold. It's more yellow than anything else. And that's kind of the version I really did want. I prefer the yellow on him compared to that dirty gold. And I think it matches the Minicon as well, having everything matched together. Moving in on the wheels, we can see that big monster Prime convoy. And it matches the other side. And you can basically see where everything's housed when he goes into Super Optimus Prime. His Minicon spark plug is just a little Lamborghini, which I really like. And of course you've seen his Powerlinks version, which was a gold one, which is also a different shape compared to the spark plug we've got here. And I'm quite tempted to switch them up so it's like gold matching gold, but that one does look good on the Powerlinks version when it's combined to that. Now, of course, this is a version that was in the Transformers Armada game, and what I like to do, I used to do as well, keeping away the trailer, I used to put spark plug just on the back here, just to keep them secure. If I had like the game Transformers, like the Autobots and Decepticons, I used to like set them up, and I used to keep Prime like this, just the way, because in the game, if you didn't know, he didn't have the trailer, so everything was just basically this. Then, of course, his rifle, which you could sit like that. It looks kind of silly, but that's what the game went for. The game really went for that look, so he had everything, and it did really look like Optimus Prime in the game. And Armada tried the exact same, and I think they've done a really good job. Now, transformation for this bot was incredibly simple, and it just made him look brilliant. First, sometimes what I like to do, because of the way the transformation is, I sometimes take these off. Now, because they can easily pop off, they can be annoying. Come at the legs and just split them down. Fold back the feet, and that exposes them. And that is basically Prime ready to stand. Unhook them and come to the middle junction. Pop this. Pop that in. Flip down the arms, come here and move down, move up the hands. Sometimes these guys can get a bit stiff just because of how old they are, considering this bot's nearly 20 years old. And there you go, there is Optimus Prime Armada. So, zooming in on the face. One thing I did like, you can get the mouthpiece to move, which was pretty cool. And if you flip this down, you can get a little matrix as well. Speaking of those exhausts, these are still the same batteries from 20 years ago. You can make it light up. If you can see, it's not really picking up because of the light source in this room, but it gives you a rough idea of some of the things the bot can do. With spark plug, you can see some of the detail in it, and if I just shine the light right, you can see his little Minicon symbol there. And again, everything is housed underneath. Transformation is extremely simple. If we come to the head and just flip that up, exposing the legs, flip down his feet, and come back here, bringing out the arms, flip around the head, and there you go, there's little spark plug. Probably my favourite Minicon. I just love the look of him, especially transforming into a little Lamborghini. And the fact it's Optimus's Minicon, that's what I really do like about it. So bringing the two back in, this is really the idea they wanted, like, is the combination for Armada Prime, and that's really what we got in the game. Sparkplug would follow him, with Prime would just look like this. And I quite like this look. It does capture the look of Optimus Prime and how he was represented in Generation 1 for the comics, etc. It does look like a tough soldier. The way Sparkplug would connect into the game with Prime, it just fit in the back there, and that would be that. Articulation for Prime, really, that's really it. The articulation's not the greatest in the Armada figures, but you can get the legs to get a nice bend in the knee, and that's really it. But that's not all this bot can do. The trailer played an important part with this Prime, just like the Power Master one did as well, converting into a base, then joining onto the body of Prime. Now, that was one of the selling gimmicks of Armada with me. I just loved how it gave me back the feelings of that Power Master Prime, which was, of course, my favourite Prime and the very first one I ever owned. So, transforming the base, you can do it battery operated. Unfortunately, there was a bit of battery acid spilled on the connections. I've tried to clean it and I've tried putting new batteries in. They don't work anymore. So I can't do it like automatically, but you can do it manually if you didn't have the batteries. So, flip down these bits, and as you can see, it's ready to come right away. And just open it up. Come to this bit. And there you go. There is a mobile base. So, you've got parts that can pop out like this. If I hit the button up here, and you've got little turrets, it can come out down here. Now, unfortunately, I don't want to touch that turret. This is at the time when Hasbro were using such a cheap plastic. Certain connections would like to snap on you, and it really did bum me out. So I'm still scared to lift this little turret. But you have got little ports at the side, and inside that little port I have a missile. If I come to the back, you can lift up this cannon and just place that in. And Prime could stand on it, that's the thing. So if we put these back down for an extra bit of balance, just get this in the middle. With the way the feet are designed, Prime could, in theory, stand there. But it was mostly more to house the minicons. I've got some of the guys out, so let's pick one random here. So let's take the Dark Star Saber, which will be up in its own video. There's going to be a minicon video, of course there would be. And like, so you can just put these guys in. There's a lot of ports kicking about, and that housed them. That's not the only thing the trailer did, like I said. The trailer was mostly a base for Optimus Prime to transform into Super Optimus Prime. So let's get that done.
Optimus Super Mode Transform! Power Link! Max Fire!
Of course I was going to show a video on this, so the easiest way to do this is actually starting with the trailer, so let's do that part first. And it's really simple. You're just closing everything back up you opened up on the trailer, and it basically houses itself. Now, if we can get it just right, and there's pegs just there, as you can see. And there you go. There's the legs to support them. There's no movement whatsoever in this. This is really just for showing off purposes when it comes to these legs. But next, now we have to transform Prime to connect onto the top. Transforming Prime can be annoying at times, and it's not to do with the actual transformation. It's to do with the grille, and the exhausts at the side can just pop off at any time going into this mode. So just be warned. And that's where a lot of the combination, when you're joining overload on, can be annoying. So, like I said, that will be in the Power Links video, but for just this purpose, we're just going to purely do Super Optimus Prime with Sparkplug just joining on him to go for that mode, which is one of my favourite looks in the history of Optimus Prime. So, let's come to the arms, and first off, what you want to do is close those up. And see, right away, there you go. Just like that, they like to pop off. So what I'm going to do is just take them off completely. Come to the head, and what you're doing is closing back up. So you're basically retransforming them But what I do is bring these hands and arms and put them like this. And this will make life a lot easier in transformation mode. Come here and just close up the main body. Now it's going to sit like this for a couple of little seconds, but what you're doing is readjusting and putting that in with the arms going like that. And they can stay like that just now, but you want them at that L shape in the hinge. Like 45 degrees. It looks like they're going to break, but they will be fine. Now come to the back legs and just split them, and up pops this head. Now the button in the middle was meant to press, and that could transform the trailer. You're just flipping these guys round like so. Flip up the hands. Come at the back here, tidy it up, and they just sit perfectly right there. Now you can reattach the exhausts. And there you go, Prime is ready. So let's bring back in the trailer. Bring it in, just those two connections, and you're just lining them up and clicking them in, and there you go, there is Super Optimus Prime. Let's get spark plug on his shoulder. Again, a little pin port just up there. We need his gun. Can put it in there, and if we put the gun forward just a little bit, I'll move the camera for this and sharpen it so it's so close to you. You can actually light it up. Again, the lights are not picking it up, but you can see what it can do. And there you have it, guys. That is Super Optimus Prime in Transformers Armada. This has to be one of my favourite versions of Prime. It really does. Just looking at him, the way he looks is so menacing. The fact now there's a third-party version coming out is incredible. Again, articulation is only the arms. That is it. There's nothing else you can do. You can move them basically like that, and you've got the nice elbow joint. And looking at the head sculpt, it is a good version of him. I do like that look. And just going down, you can see where a lot of attention to detail is, and keeping it still looking like Optimus Prime with the colour scheme and everything else, which was perfect. The only thing I wish this was a different colour, match the missile. I could probably colour the missile in. I've just never got around to doing it. I mean, I've had this bot for 20 years and it still blows me away of how it looks. It just looks so good. And with the combinations on it, it just makes it look even better. So, let's push them back just so you can get to see the actual size. Now, if I was going to bring in another Transformer, we'll just grab one by hand. So let's bring in Red Alert, just put him down at the bottom. And that gives you a rough height. He is a big guy. And that was like one of the selling points. And of course, like I said, you can do combinations.
Power Get Optimus! Transform!
So that will be covered in the Power Links video, because I thought it'd be appropriate using that bot to showcase that. Let's get all the Power Links versions on and combine them. But guys, I really do hope you enjoyed this. I really did want to go back, remake this video to showcase my favourite Optimus Prime. Just because this is the guy that started the collection. If this guy was not here, there'd be no Optimus Wilbur. There'd be nothing. And it's all to this guy for the Transformers collection and everything else. So it does have a very special place in my heart. But I've teased for so long with the combination videos, and we're finally here. We're in the last 3 videos I will be doing in the Armada series, and it's been so much fun getting these guys done. So Galvatron is here. I won't be showing the transformation of Galvatron. I'm going to leave a link here for the Megatron video. That is basically how you transform. It's the exact same figure. This guy, I had to wait a while to get my hands on him. He's in good condition. I'm missing the minicon. I've got all the missiles though. The turret doesn't make a sound effect. It doesn't click. It's quite broken, to be honest with you. This sticks, so I can't use a minicon on it whatsoever to push up the missiles, but I can do that. So everything else Megatron does, it does the exact same. So we're going to get him ready. Then I'll do a size comparison next to Tidal Wave. We'll get Tidal Wave ready and we'll do the combination and we'll get Galvatron combined to Tidal Wave. Zooming in Galvatron's face, I touched upon how in the Megatron video, Galvatron didn't have a lot of detail compared to the paint aspect compared to Megatron. But it's kind of a different story when he's in robot mode, and it does look a lot better to look at. I mean, the face sculpture looks incredible. I just love that face of Galvatron. And if we pull back the camera, let's bring in Tidal Wave for that all-important size comparison. And here he is. So, it gives you a rough idea, the sizes of these two. There's not really much in between them. And if rumours are going about, and we've seen a couple of rumours, by the time this video is out, hopefully it's confirmed, but it probably won't be. There is talk of a maybe Titan Tidal Wave. If not, third party, please do something and make it. Anyways, so let's get Tidal Wave ready for combination. We're going to have to break them down, get them into all three modes, and then combine them right onto Galvatron. Now we have Galvatron all ready to combine with Tidal Wave. So what we'll do is we'll take Galvatron away just now. So first things up, let's take the legs of Tidal Wave. Just while I adjust the camera. And what you want to do is do that, split. So they're sitting like this and twist round because they're going to be going like that. Next, let's take the aircraft carrier and we're just pulling this part down. And finally, we'll take the battleship or whatever it is, and you're flipping these parts around to have these guys ready to combine. So, bringing back in Galvatron, what we're going to do is make him stand like this. And the good thing is, thankfully I don't have batteries, so he's not going to make that obnoxious sound every time I turn him round. And I think this is the reason why I keep putting Tidal Wave on Galvatron, because he doesn't keep saying Megatron attack, which I really could change the batteries, but I haven't. So, turn him round, and what we're going to do is lift him up like that, bring in first part of Tidal Wave, and that just clips in, and then you can do whatever you want. I like to readjust it, so it's got this extra bit of armour on the back. Turn them back round, just bring back down the arms. You've got this here. Now you can't push that down now, okay? And that's because obviously it's extended for the backpack being on. So what you want to do is we're going to have to put it like this just now. Take the battleship or whatever it is. And what we're going to do, if Galvatron would like to stand still for me, thank you. Stand still. There's a peg where the minicon can sit, and I'm just trying to line it up. And you're just basically clip them on, and it stays on like so. Bringing in the last piece, exact same again, it just clips on. So what you want to do is just line it up, and this one just slides over and fits a lot better. And if I can get that peg in, there we go. And there you have it. That is the mess of Tidal Wave and Galvatron combined. It's a strange one because of the size difference. If you want to break it down, it makes no sense. It's all over the shop. And when you combine them, It's good for body armour in my opinion. I mean, you can see he's got nice armour on the left and the right, then the backpack, and then of course he's got his main turret at the front, and you can place it however way you want. I still don't like that look, but when you're combining him and Tidal Wave together, that's the only look you can go for. Unfortunately, I'm just not the biggest fan of it. This is the second last video, guys. This has been teased with the Optimus Prime video, the Jetfire video, Overload video, but I was always wanting to hold back and do it with Power Link's Optimus Prime, bringing back Energon Ultra Magnus, which is a repaint of Overload, and of course Power Link's Jetfire. And to be honest, I've never really combined these guys to see the colour patterns, but I've always wanted to, and I think it looks a lot better than having the standard Optimus Prime on Power Link's Jetfire, and with the bright red of Overload on with that Jetfire as well, because the original one was painted different, and it suits just the standard version a lot better in my opinion. We're going to go through every single one, how you get them into position, and that's that. With my Power Link's Optimus Prime, you can clearly see I'm missing parts there. I had to wait a while to get this guy. He is not complete in the sense he's still missing just a few things for the trailer. I was missing the smokestacks. I forgot what they're called there, and these were from Shapeways, and I've just chromed them. I'll zoom in, let you guys see, and they've actually done a really good job. So I'm well impressed with them, and they've been fantastic since I've got them. Okay, so let's start with Jetfire, the all important part. Get the legs ready, and then we'll move on to Optimus Prime. With Jetfire, what I've done is I've took missiles off and everything else, purely because I can't be bothered with parts flying off, but it'll make it easier for transformation. So, first things first, come at the back and take away his rifle or his blaster, whatever you want to call it, his thruster. Throw that away. He'll come back to that shortly. Now, come to the feet. Get them ready. Now, as soon as he's like that, he's basically nearly there. So, what I like to do is pull them just a tad out and lock them like that. And that'll help the balance with Prime being on it, because it is heavy the way we're going to do the transformation. You can bring in the wings, make them tidier if you want, and then just close up the back of Jetfire so he's got this nice sleek look right there. Next we're going to come to the head, and you're just going to unpeg these parts. Come to the back, unrelease them, and slide down the cockpit. Yeah, that wee bit just clipped off. You can close that bit back up if you want. I just like to do it. And with these bits, they unpeg, and we'll just move the wings out the way just for a fraction, and that will allow Prime to combine. So there you go, the legs are ready for combination. Transform Prime is just the exact same as we done in the Optimus Prime video. We just have to get him into Super Robot mode. It's just the exact same again. Just pull down those bits, leave those bits at the bottom, twist around the arms, flip this part down, close it, and then all we have to do is just get everything ready, get the arms round, head will pop up, and there you go. So what we're going to do is just tidy everything up so it's sitting nice and neat for going on Jetfire. Now that we have that done, we can actually bring in Jetfire Shield, and that will of course just clip onto Optimus. Just hold them at the pegs here, and these will just slide on and clip, so that gives you the idea of that. Then what you want to do, just the exact same with the trailer, pins right there, bring back in the legs, and just pin Prime into Jetfire, just lining them up, and there we go. Just make sure that part doesn't come off, because it likes to come off now and then. So let's just make sure. Staying on. Stay. Put it on the other way. There we go. Bringing back in all the accessories. Now we're going to equip the rifle. It can only fit Prime's right hand, because Jetfire's thruster has a little peg at the side. It likes to just bounce off Prime's thumb if you put it on the left. We'll put in Prime's cannon, and then we'll bring back gold spark plug, and we'll just power links him onto Prime, keeping Prime steady. If I can do this, and there you go. There you have it. Optimus Prime in jet mode. Well, Jet Optimus or Jet Convoy, whatever way you want to call it. I love the look of this Prime. Absolutely love it. And my only worry is it's quite weighty. And what I mean by that is Prime can be very heavy on the joints. And if you're putting him on Jetfire can be a bit flimsy. So having him like that and then try to support the weight of Overload can be problematic. So we'll try and put Overload on. It can be done. If not, then you can put him on with the trailer. The trailer holds him so much better. But it'd be nice to round off the combination videos with everything being complete. But that's something you do have to take into consideration. Sometimes the weight is just too much for the Transformers. To get Ultra Magnus or Overload ready, it's quite simple. So first off, take away the front, and then you're left with this. So it's near enough the same as the transformation, but it's going to be these parts other than the main things. Now, I'm missing the missiles for Magnus, but you can, again through Shapeways, I've just not bought them yet, you can get replacements, which is fantastic. So, take one of the feet and flip it round so the gun is showing, and just straighten that up. Okay, what you want to do next is take the arms and you're just flipping these round to close them off. And they're going to be facing up. So it's going to look like this when everything's lined up. You want it so these parts here connect the back of Prime. And with a bit of on-screen editing, because I wanted to make sure nothing was going to fall off, there you have it. You have Energon Ultra Magnus combined onto Powerlink's Optimus Prime, which is combined onto Powerlink's Jetfire to form Jet Convoy Powerlinks, basically. Super Optimus Prime, Jetfire Optimus Prime, whatever you want to call this. This mode is incredible. Now, this is the first I've combined these three together, and they're all standing solid. That's not to say if I was to touch it in any shape or form, will this fall down? Because it is a lot of weight on Jetfire, and the fact that it's just two pegs that are basically in the wrists of Optimus Prime that's holding onto Magnus or Overload, depending on what one you're using. The Overload scenario, like I said, I've always preferred it being on the trailer because the trailer is more sturdy, whereas Jetfire, you can see where the issue lies. It's just really those legs, and you've just got to get basically the situation right for holding them together. But that being said, it does look absolutely incredible when it's all pieced together. Bringing my camera back as far as I can and just showing you how tall this is when it's all combined is pretty impressive. It is fantastic. It is a fantastic way, I think, to end Armada. Like, we went through all these videos and we finish on combining Optimus Prime to Jetfire and to Overload or Ultra Magnus. It's incredible. Still, it's one of my favourites to look at when I see it like this. This is the whole reason I fell in love with Armada, and I wanted this combination so much when I seen it in the cartoon. This was one of the reasons why I got into collecting. This is it. The end is here. We have covered Armada, I think, since April, since I've went to the one video a week format. Of course, there's been sprinkles of Scorponok and Skylinks in, but Armada has been something I've really enjoyed. In the showcase, the collection really started it all, and ended with Unicron is fantastic, but not just Unicron. This is Unicron Toy Hacks. Yes, that's right, there is decals for Unicron. I'm going to leave the link as always. Now, I wanted to do something special for this video, and originally I was going to open my 30th or 35th, I can't remember what the year is, I think it's the 30th, the Platinum Edition of Unicron, which is more of the movie colours, but it's still in the box sealed, and of course, this is the guy I picked up when he first came out. I had to have a Unicron. We all know the prototype was out at the time. It just never went into mass production. So this was really our first Unicron, and a lot of us jumped at it. Of course, there's been various repaints of him being black, green. Then we had an offset colours of the Generation 1 version, and then the Platinum Edition kind of nailed it. And of course, like Optimus Prime and Megatron, this is a revisit video, because I didn't think I'd done a lot of justice when I done Unicron, and with it being Toy Hacks, it gives it something new to that video as well. So there's a lot of things to go over with this. Now, when it comes to this Unicron, it's still special to me, and everybody knows now we've got kind of two coming out. One's already out, and we're waiting on the granddaddy, the biggest Transformer Hasbro's made. Out of the two of them, I've got to admit, the HasLabs or Hasbro Labs, whatever you want to call it, is fascinating, but it's a lot of money to drop, and try to justify that one, I don't think I could. The third party one, however, I really do like. I really do like how it is very spot on to Generation 1, and it comes with things that he can just stand in planet mode, or he can just stand normal. He doesn't need a stand to help him stand up, and that's like things like that. It puts me off in the HasLabs and wants me to go for that one, but then I do want the one because it's the biggest Transformer ever. But then I do you know what I mean? I think everybody's in the same boat here, but when there's like a good £500 of a difference between the two of them, that is kind of like the selling point as well to me. But any case, this guy, I got him back in the day, the Armada Unicron, and he still looks as good as ever. Batteries still work, and the only issue I've got with mine is, and I think everybody had the same issue, when you peg in the ring up here, it doesn't like to sit right. It likes to just pop as soon as you enclose everything over. That's the only issue I've got. The main one I think we all hated, and we kind of wanted it fixed, but now like they're doing it now, is we wanted a stand. Having Unicron like this is okay, I guess, but you want him upright, you want him looking menacing. Now, there was a third party stand. For the life of me, I cannot find that now. If anybody watches this video knows you can still get it, please send me a link, because I want to buy one. I can get one made through Shapeways, but the material cost and everything else was quite a lot, so that was kind of a no-go right away. So if anybody knows where you can still get a stand for this, a link would be perfect. Just tell me where to go so I can get this big guy in planet mode standing up. Now, first Toy Hacks. Straight away you can see it's in the mouth. We have got Armada style with kind of like the Generation 1 style. With it, just bring it forward a little bit closer, sharpen the camera. And it's beautiful. Now, to get these decals on, you do have to unscrew these parts from like the shell. It is actually really simple. The instructions made it look hard, but actually they were spot on. It was very simple. It's 2 screws, you put decals on and you just put back in the 2 screws. 1 screw is basically just for the spring. That is it. And it just looks fascinating. When you close it, it looks good like that. When you open it, and you've got this nice, like, gone into the depth of Unicron. And that's one thing I love. And that's how I want to stand, because if you're looking at it like that, that is incredible. Now, of course, you can see his missiles. One thing I do hate, I don't like the missiles. But he does have his own minicon, and I think, if I remember, it's called Dead End. And it'd sit there. Pointless. I don't like it. And his cannon can sit like that. It really doesn't matter what way you have him round. He can sit like that or the other way. I genuinely do not like the placement of that minicon. 9 times out of 10. Actually, come to think of it, not even 9 times out of 10. I think this is only like the 5th time I've transformed that minicon in all the years I've had Unicron, and that is nearly pushing 20 years now. And I still do not like that minicon. But that's the first Toy Hacks decal. The rings are good. You can put more minicons on that if you wish. And the attention to detail in the shell as well. Having it see-through is one thing I like. It's very solid plastic, and you can really see into Unicron. And he is very simple to transform. He was not one of the hardest, and at the time this was kind of classed as a Titan. I know Titan takes on a totally different meaning now, but he was very simple, and I just love the look. The colours were great, everything looked so good for Unicron. It's just a pity we never had a stand. That was the only issue, we never had a stand. So, you can see his big ugly mug right there. So let's get Dead End transform, and then we'll transform Unicron, and we'll look at the rest of the Toy Hacks decals. Transforming Dead End is extremely simple, so all you've got to do is you're just breaking them off like that, and you're flipping them round. There's his little head. So, and then we're just flipping this back round, the arm goes like that, same again, flip back round, out comes this horrible gun. The legs you can just flip up like that, put it that way, again, put them that way, and they can just stand, and there you go. Pointless. But at least he's got his own minicon, the detail's okay. Again, it really serves no purpose for Unicron when you consider any minicon can fit on him. You can use a minicon to fire out the missiles. It's just there, that's all it's there for. To transform Unicron, it is extremely simple, and that's the great thing about this bot. So, come around here, and first off you're going to want to unpeg the ring, and you're going to do it at the bottom. Come to the feet, and just separate them, and just pull them apart. Next, come to the middle, and you're just pulling the legs away from the back of Unicron. They go on with a tab, and you can finally stretch out those big old legs. Come to the feet and flip them round. They've got that amazing noise. I love that noise. And it's just a case of angling them right. Now, they have got a Generation 1 look, but it's not the proper Generation 1 look in my opinion. But they're good enough. And you can flip that round, which tidies that up as well. If Unicron's standing, come to the arms, pop them, flip them out like that, and all you're doing is lifting them up, peg them in, and get his big shoulder pads, push them up, come to the arms, turn them round, and they're on a nice elbow hinge, of course, for transformation. Open them up and flip out the hands. So there's one, and yes, all fingers open. Now come to these bits, and what you want to do, tidy them up, just like in the cartoon. Tidy them up like that, and they're meant to house a bit better, but they really don't. Let's be honest, anybody's got this figure, this guy is very temperamental when it comes to how these things are meant to sit. They're just going to fall back down. There's nothing you can do. It's just a weight issue. Come in the middle, flip up his little plate, And to finish it off, flip up the head and turn the horns all the way back round. And there you go, you have got Unicron transformed. And he still looks as good as ever. I still love this bot. The only issues I've got, again, it's when he's transformed, the things don't sit right. And, of course, the back bits are just really a pain. Real pain trying to get them to sit normal. But apart from that, everything else is fine in this bot. Now let's go over the Toy Hacks decals I've done for him. Zooming on the face sculpt, the sculpt is brilliant, and what I've done is I've added this beautiful silver decal coming round each side, which gives it more of a Generation 1 look. Then you've got this Armada one right here, which is really nice. There is a decal up here where the button is. That one is very temperamental in how it wants to sit on. I've tried so many times, so hopefully now he's out of planet mode, I can keep him in robot mode, that I can fix that. Coming down to that ab section, you can clearly see they've extended the colour down here, which is nice. That was just always the clear plastic with these red squares, but now we've got this coming down, which kind of fills that in. I was kind of hoping we had better red decals for here, but alas, they weren't in the decal package. But what it does give, if I can just pop it open, I'll use my tweezers. Looking inside, we have that beautiful scene from the movie where like all these parts are going that when he's eating that planet and all these mechanisms are going up and down to generate energy. That is there in this Unicron, which I absolutely adore. Coming to the hands, and it's matching on each side, you have just those little decals that fill in like the Generation 1 going across his fingers right here. Of course, with this hand, if you push it in, it lights up still, which is one thing I still love to this day. Turning Unicron round, if you take dead end, you can place it in the back here, and if it wants to work, and I've just lost the part because it flew away. Out of all the videos that I've done with parts flying, there it goes, there's one just flies right across the room. Oh well, it's staying in. It's staying in. And there's a part that flew out. Comes out his chest. That just goes straight back in. Click it in place. Close the chest. And that is that. But there wasn't a lot of decals with Unicron. But I haven't seen a video that actually showcases these decals at all. That was the scariest thing about this. Now you can clearly see, if I just zoom up here, that's the one there I'm talking about. It just doesn't like to sit down a little bit. See, I can do that, right? And it's starting to come back up right away. Even if I leave that for maybe about an hour, if it's flattened, it always pops back up. Now, these decals have been on him for about 2 months, and I wanted to leave Unicron to the last. You end up with Unicron because it's just the way things are. But it is absolutely fantastic. The attention to detail I thought back in the day with this bot was really good. The only thing I wish was there was a stand. That was it. I just wish there was a stand. I wish there was kind of like a bit of voice to him, and I wish the eyes were green. That's one thing I didn't like. I know Armada, his eyes were red. I wanted to be green. I know they've changed that now with various incarnations of this bot. If you can get a complete one, if you cannot get the studio, whatever cell it's called, 01, I can't remember its name, or the HasLabs, which is a pretty penny, get Armada Unicron, get him any colour. He's worth being in your collection if you don't have one. You need this in your collection just to tie it off, to have basically the ultimate destruction power in the Transformers universe. It's incredible. So, that being said, Transformer fans, there's only one thing I can make him hold, and it's quite fitting. It's the only thing that can destroy him. And of course, with the close-up, and if I fix that zoom, yes, I do have my own Matrix of Leadership. I've had that for years, And I always make Unicron hold it just because we know that's the thing that can destroy him, and it just looks so cool being in his hand. Guys, thank you so much. I hope you've enjoyed Armada as much as I've enjoyed bringing these guys back. I know I've made new fans in the Armada line. They didn't know these bots existed, and they're just having a blast of a time with them. That is something I've always wanted to do on this channel. Just you guys see something that you've never seen before, and here it's here. So that's a wrap for Armada. I've really enjoyed it. Up next, I have no idea what I'm going to do toy hacks wise. I don't know where to start, but I think it's about time we finally brought wee Yang Predaking do his videos with the Toy Hacks decals. So until next time, Transformer fans, I'll see yous in the next Optimus Wilbur reviews. Thank you for everyone to tune in today's video. If you want to make Baby Grimlock happy, why not hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. All new videos are always coming right here in Optimus Wilbur reviews. If you'd like to follow me in any of my social media links, all the descriptions are in the description box below. And of course, as always, I cannot stress this enough, I wish to thank Cybertronic Spree for allowing me to use their song Cybertronic Warrior as the theme of this channel. Guys, this is an incredible band that does incredible covers, and recently just done an amazing album of the Transformers 1986 movie soundtrack. Please follow them and all their social media links. I have every description in the description box below. Please check them out, and as always, Transformer fans, till all are one.